This season has been difficult to watch to say the least for the Tifosi, as Mattia Binotto and his staff find new ways to outdo their questionable decisions and poor strategy execution with each race weekend that has passed. But there may be a silver lining to this season for you Tifosi out there, as Mattia has finally seen the light and has now admitted that some things may have to change within the organization if they want to be competitive in seasons to come. So, what are these changes exactly? What did Carlos Sainz think of the team's execution this past weekend and Zandvoort? And does Charles still think he has a shot at the title? Well, let's talk about it then. But before we do, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on our latest uploads. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. The Dutch Grand Prix was another Ferrari masterpiece on Carlos's end, as both the strategy and mechanics team were able to ruin Carlos's race just after his first pit stop, where the mechanics would not have a rear left tire ready as Carlos rolled into the pit lane. This cost Carlos to drop back in the standings and would have him finish at 8th by the end of the race. Mattia would be asked about this after the race, where he would reveal that it was due to a late call by the strategy team, which left the mechanics unprepared once Carlos rolled into their pit. In Mattia's words, "I think if I look at today, simply the call was too late a call, so we had no time to react. All these things need to be fixed, but these ones are the easiest to be fixed, so, at the end, they happened. They should not happen. I'm pretty sure that we can be stronger in the future, so I'm less concerned by that than the pace of the car." This lack of concern on the team's execution had Sky Sports F1 pundit Nico Rosberg heated when asked about Ferrari's performance in the race, where he would say, "When is the day coming? Even Formula 2 teams or Formula 3 teams do a better job at their strategy and pit stops than Ferrari. You go to the pits and there's no tire there in a race. At some point, they really need to start making some changes. Beyond that, of course, also their car is just a little bit off the pace as well now, especially in races. We saw it in Spa. We saw it again here. They're starting to lose out. They need to keep developing the car in the right direction. One of the things people often say, of course, is Binotto is a technician. You might suggest you need a joint leadership, with one being the technician and one being the business manager and people manager. That's what some people have been suggesting. I don't know Binotto well enough, but in any case, he needs to be making some personnel changes, I feel. Mattia would catch wind of these statements by Nico and would address this also in his post-race interview, where he would say, "We will not change people. That's a straight answer to Rosberg," Binotto said when told of Rosberg's remarks. "What is more important is simply the stability and making sure you're improving race by race. We have a great team. I have no doubt about that." And as for Carlos, who arguably could have finished within the top 4 if not for the mess in his first pit stop, the Spanish driver would air out his frustrations in his post-race interview, saying, "Yes, it was a mess. The whole race in trouble. First, with the confusing pit stop that we had and the yellow flag in which I saved myself by very small margins, and then the unsafe release." Sainz would receive a 5-second penalty for his unsafe release, to which both Carlos and Mattia saying that it was too harsh, given the circumstances. "That wasn't an unsafe release. I was launched into the pit lane correctly, but the problem is that I had to brake to not take a McLaren guy out of his life. Because I took avoiding action, they give you a penalty. I find this very frustrating, and I'm going to speak with the FIA now because I don't understand it," said Sainz. While Mattia would say, "The 5-second penalty cost quite a lot to Carlos," said Binotto. "Honestly, I feel the decision of the FIA, of the stewards, has been very, very harsh. The reason is, when he came in, the McLaren was passing through, and we held Carlos in the pit position because we knew it would have been unsafe to release at that time. We waited to have the right space, and we believed the space was there with the Alpine coming, so that's why we released him. What happened after is he had to slow down almost to stop because the pit crew of McLaren was going around the car, and in order to be safe with the mechanics, he almost stopped, having as well an anti-stall coming in, losing him time, and then it was too late. But the release itself was not unsafe. The release was safe. The way Carlos acted was safe. That's why it seems the overall decision was harsh. Now, before everyone gets mad and starts commenting clickbait, Mattia would also say that the team has to figure out how he and the drivers can fully exploit their car's potential, especially in Charles' title hunt, who they have undoubtedly ruined more than Carlos. Now it's 3 races in a row where Ferrari have lost out, from Hungary, from Spa, here. So I think we are not exploiting maybe the full potential of the car. There is something wrong that we need to address, said Mattia. In Hungary, we were not quick enough, and maybe we need to simply review our packages that we've introduced, or maybe in the way that we are balancing our car today. I think that the potential of the car can be high. It has proved to be higher since the beginning of the season, but right now, it is not the case anymore. On the other hand, both Charles and Carlos would agree with Mattia by saying that the team has taken a step back, with Charles saying, "We just didn't have the pace. We weren't quick enough. So this is the main focus at the moment, to try and bring back the speed that we had at the beginning of the season. We seem to have lost it. A little bit of pace in the long runs especially. Everybody is obviously improving, but in the last races, we've been struggling a bit more in race pace. Now Mercedes is also in the fight, and they are very quick. They were extremely quick, especially on the harder compounds. I think our pace on the soft was really good in the beginning. We had used tires, Max was on new, so I think the difference was more or less what we expected. But then, on the new medium, we were slower than expected for sure." While Carlos would say, "It's race pace, no? Where we're missing? I'm not happy with how the car felt in the race. It was super tricky to drive. We were always fighting the rear a lot of overheating, and we need to find out why the car isn't as strong in the race as it is in quali." And it seems as though the Spanish driver has lost all hope of mounting a comeback over Red Bull this season, as he believes that the rest of the season will be a chance for the team to gather data in hopes that this will help their chances for next season. We need to keep analyzing these cases, keep improving as a team, because we keep costing ourselves some points and we need to see why, said Sainz. If we want to have a shot at the title next year, we need to keep improving these things. And there you have it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't.